Hello.
Hello, mover. How are you?
I'm centered. Are you?
I don't.
That sounded really woo or we or chi or whatever. I'm very centered.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the closure is a little too much here. Just
We are flankers versus fat Amy's.
like, hey, take spread, dude. Like, just yeah. There we go.
That was
You know what?
unsettling.
No, I like this.
That's unsettling also.
There we go. I don't know, Doug.
Maybe we could do like onesies.
Onesies.
Yeah, like that.
Ooh.
Go back and forth.
I don't know, man.
That made
I like
Gonky turn that freeze.
the 20,000 foot
Perfect.
view.
This is perfect. This is the way it should be.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
This is how. Okay.
Yes, when the authorities roll up, they'll have a really good idea of.
Once you start pushing buttons, you'll never go back.
Yeah, you're off the button pushing train there, Douglas. Welcome back, Douglas, with your internet that can see the future.
Mm-hmm.
How was your weekend?
I just took a big sip of juice.
Are you like Quagmire that just discovered the end of the internet?
Yeah, my right arm. You ought to see it.
All right. This is a PG show.
That was great.
Good.
The first night we got it, I downloaded a game while we were watching TV just because I could.
Legally speaking.
I love it.
Oh, man. Gonky,
Yes, sir.
how are you?
I'm doing all right, man.
Are you in the mental health minute already?
Yeah, no, don't. Hey, you better change what I wrote there. That's not.
Hold on. Where is it? There it is. Mental health minute. Life is harder than you die and pay death taxes. Gonky wrote that.
That's a little lightheartedness because tomorrow, mover. I don't mean to bring you down more, but tomorrow is your last day to pay your taxes.
I paid yesterday.
Yeah.
So it left my account today.
Yeah, I paid today. So I know. I know. That's how I feel inside. Yeah. My wife heard me on the phone. She's like, wait a minute. We owed I'm like, yes. That's how
you owe taxes too?
$900.
I don't think I heard that revelation.
Yeah. It's my first time having to pay in a while.
Me too. Yeah, I didn't even know how. I'm like, so do you do this? Like, no, you have to. I'm like, but how?
Wait, money's going the wrong way.
They don't teach you this in school.
No.
How do I pay?
Yeah. No, man, it's no, everything's going pretty much. I was talking with you and Doug before the show. My doc, who I really like, he told me he couldn't fix my knee, which is crazy. So I don't know. I'm going to get a second opinion, but it was pretty wild. We were just kind of talking, and then he finally just asked me, he's like, how can I help you? And I'm like totally taken back. And I just said, well, I'll answer like my 6-year-old would. Can you just fix my knee? He's like, no, I can't fix your knee. So I am, I'm stuck in a perpetual hard over, man. Rudder hard over. So, Doug, you there? Am I out? Am I the only one?
It's about par for the course, is what this is.
Where'd you guys go? Where did you go?
I don't know. The thing started spinning, and
that wasn't me, dude. I was the only one. I was the only one on the show, man.
Well, were you telling your sob story? I'm sorry, I missed it.
No, it's all good now. I had a happy ending, dude. So
you got a happy ending? We're not supposed to tell people that on this show.
Well, you missed it. It was a good one. So yeah,
Great.
Doug was gone too. Doug, did you hear me?
Doug left too?
Man.
Doug's not even back. His super fast internet has abandoned him. Must be a Louisiana thing, dude. Only Florida has been spared.
He's back.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah,
how's that internet working?
StreamYard had a failure.
It's like we had a V1 cut there with old StreamYard, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. You were steady talking, and I was just like,
Dude,
Everybody lost everybody, and then Gonky was gone, and Mover came back without him, but Mover couldn't hear me. It was a mess.
Skid reported that I was the only one left, so
Oh.
that was the yes.
So your view of the universe is reflected in who you could still see after the.
Yeah.
When I die, all I see is Douglas.
Well, Mover, enough about me. How are you, sir? How
We didn't hear about you, Gonky.
No, it was like
we'll watch the VOD later.
Yeah, so you'll get it in the clips. You have to.
We'll watch it later.
Have to watch the clips.
It sounds like it was the stuff he told us pre-show, so it's fine.
With a happy ending.
TLDR, his knee is not repairable, but working for motorcycles.
I tried. Yeah,
It's working in his mind now.
That'll be all that matters.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Mover, how was your week? Was it better than mine?
No, it's terrible.
Can you talk about it?
No, I don't want to. The only thing I can say is I tried to fly Airwolf yesterday.
And
failure. It still exists. It's the world's most expensive desk ornament.
Elaborate. Did it not start? Did it crash?
I got little flashy lights, but it would never do the thing that it's supposed to do.
Okay.
And therefore, a couple very helpful people tried to help me troubleshoot. Said it's probably the battery. Battery throws an error when you try to charge it. Got a new charger from that helpful fan, Phil. And that also does not work. So I don't know, dude. Like,
you'll get it.
It didn't ship with a battery. That was the first problem. Like I get it, and I'm like, hey, where's the battery? So I tell them, and they're like, okay, we'll ship you a battery when we get one in. And then I waited because I'm a busy man, and the wind has been out of limits. And I was like, it's a beautiful day. It's an Airwolf day. Airwolf will make me feel better. It's been a crappy weekend. Friday was a very disappointing revelation. And, just a little bit of Airwolf flying. That's all I was asking.
Sounds like it didn't happen.
It did not. So.
Well, dude, look, you'll get it. I've got faith in you.
But, we've decided that we're not going to be Debbie Downers except for the health minute. So.
No, we'll figure out something else.
Yeah, we'll talk. But a lot of sad stuff's been going on in the news with the crashes, like all of them.
Yeah. No, for sure. There's definitely some wild stuff. Yeah, we'll talk about some of it here in the show. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like you said, man, I'm trying to be dude. Easter's next weekend, so I'm trying to keep a positive attitude and go with that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think we need a win, turnaround. I think we're going to get a turnaround.
Yeah.
Easter's not next weekend. It's the weekend after, right?
No, it's not. It's next weekend.
I don't know, dude.
Doug, help us out, man. You got a calendar, right?
Doug,
Friday, yeah.
I know what my days off are. Spoken like a true government employee.
That's what I was thinking it. I was like, I'll let Doug say it.
All right. Well, we've got some things from the audience, thankfully.
Hit it.
Griff says, breaking news, Mover decides to leave Louisiana behind for Florida so he can join the Florida Highway Patrol.
True. Yes. Dude, I want to join the Florida Highway Patrol.
Want to talk about that now?
Dude, yeah, play it. It's awesome. This is a cool video.
Do you have that, Doug, with your high-speed internets?
I take it silence is no.
No, I was muted.
Oh. We just keep winning, dude.
Good.
Here it is. Yes.
Yeah.
What you're hoping for?
Yeah.
Is it really 15 minutes?
We're not gonna watch all 15 minutes, just enough to see the car. Go to the car, dude. Skip it. Skip ahead.
See there. That looks good.
No, like 1 minute.
Send something. I know you thought it was.
All right, where the heck is it?
What are you doing? Just pick one.
I'm trying.
What you clicked on for the thumbnail. And right now I'm about to.
There it is.
There you go.
Lieutenant Close.
I'm going in blind here. I haven't seen this.
Good to meet you.
Just scrub to something that is not a man with a uniform that is too tight.
That's the Camaro. This looks good.
There you go. Right there. Look at that. Oh, dude.
Makes me want to be a highway patrolman, dude.
No, you know what it makes me think? I gotta be honest, dude. I could never get in and out of the thing.
Really? Well, if we were
100%.
younger.
Ease, gentlemen.
I don't know about
Yeah.
any age that I could do this because you don't understand, Gonky.
Man, guys.
When you go out on patrol, you're wearing about 20
Florida
pounds of
Highway
gear.
Patrol outdid theirselves
This dude, I don't know what he's.
once
I think that's a car they
black
confiscated.
Oh,
and
dude,
on
yeah,
it
for sure.
and level up.
All right, Nick, what we started with here, it's 2023 Chevrolet Corvette C8. This is the 70th anniversary. This is
That's so
FHP's first ever mid-engine supercar.
Look
Let's
at that
talk
thing.
about performance. This is LT2. 6.2
No, I wanna know who
liter
you stole it
V8
from.
producing at 490
Yeah.
horsepower
Care about the
and
performance?
465
What poor drug
pounds
dealer
of
doesn't
torque.
have his
Yeah.
car right
Who,
now?
who was doing the drugs?
This vehicle is capable of a 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. and
You
has a
should not
top
be
speed of
doing that. Oh, he was
194
doing 100?
miles per hour.
Dude, why would you show that?
That was in kilometers, dude. So he
Was
was doing
it?
60. He was
Okay.
doing
That's our
60.
traditional
Okay,
two-tone paint scheme with one-off state trooper lettering, custom fit the quarter panels.
Yeah,
and
that's pretty
traditional
cool, huh?
LCOs sporting our state flag. The factory rims are powder coated and
Does
also
Louisiana do anything like
incorporate
that?
two-tone colors on the rim logos.
Do we steal stuff
completed
from
the
drug
look
dealers?
Corvette
Yes.
No,
with
I
Stingray
mean-
emblems and an OEM carbon flash.
Do they have any
What do you think about the car? I like
All right, you can.
Like
We
it.
can. Now,
they got any vets?
no, not that I know of. They have a lot of chargers, but yeah. So, I mean, really, you wear all that crap, and you're top heavy, and your duty belt gets caught on stuff. Like I have to wear a seatbelt extender in my Tahoe so that I can get it around the, the duty belt and the vest, the plate carrier, all that stuff. That would be fun, like the first time, and then you're like, oh, dude, I gotta get out of this thing. Like a foot pursuit, you'd be done. You'd just be like, well, I'm just gonna run into them because there's no way I'm gonna get out of this thing and run. Because my car's so low, like just normally getting in and out of it is a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, law enforcement has some cool stuff. I mean, we talked about 11 and Beefcake last week, and when we were taking him to the where he was buried, they shut down I-95, and the sheriff's office there had Hemi Challengers, and they were they had two-door Challengers, man, and they were
Wow.
blasting past us to shut down the on-ramps.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obviously a sad time, but dude, those things just sounded awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude, no.
Yeah.
Louisiana used to have F bodies, like the
Yeah.
old Camaros.
Yeah.
I think their Chargers look really good. I mean, they had the Chargers. Now they're all Tahoes, I think.
Dude, California had the Fox bodies and the F bodies. The old
Yeah.
Camaros,
I
dude.
mean, like they're saying, if you watch the full video, this is just for public events and stuff. It's not really like a patrol. It's not practical for patrol. It wouldn't survive. It would
Yeah, I
never
know.
survive. It would just be
hit this guy. No. No. Let's rip the whole front of my trunk off.
Yeah, the frunk. The frunk. You're gonna rip my frunk off.
Yeah. Well, that's
But-
cool, man.
Yeah, no, I thought it was awesome, dude. I would
That is cool.
that would be a
Good look-
Lunamobile. A good Lunamobile.
Fast cars and fast airplanes, man. They mix. They mix well.
Mhm,
I'm a
mhm.
fan.
Yeah. Yep. Don't do drugs, kids.
No.
Otherwise, your Corvette will be.
It'll be on the Mover and Gonky show
Yeah.
via
your
the
Corvette,
Florida Highway Patrol.
your Corvette will be stolen by the government. Yeah. Mover does wear seatbelt extenders. That's a true story. You ever try to wear all that crap in a Tahoe, dude? No.
Hmm.
It's easier to click right there.
Yeah. There's seatbelt extenders in the fighter jet. So there's seatbelt extenders.
Yeah. I don't use them at the airlines where it matters. Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
Wicked Spider Black. Hello. Hi, guys, and happy Mondays to the week. Hi, Doug.
Amen.
Hey, people of St. Tammany Parish, which I don't doubt there's any, but just in case. So today I did a photo shoot with this unruly animal. God, look how blurry that picture is. It did not
Wow.
upload well.
Was that a flip phone? It took that?
Yeah. I don't know why it came out like that. Anyway, did all the pictures come out like that? Anyway, so Thursday there will be an adoption event because our shelter is over capacity for dogs, and there are no kill shelter until they reach this critical mass. So we try to keep it below. So just in time for Easter,
Hmm.
adopt your new best friend. Public service announcement.
Yeah.
Speaking of best friends and adopting people, get your Mover and Gonky action figures.
Oh, dude. I
It
think we
looks
look
like
better
Travis-
in real life.
Travis Pastrana and some guy we don't know.
Dude, he looks like he's about to say, you might remember me from such films as The Mover and Gonky Show, Mondays with Mover,
I mean, I love the brown boots, but what kind of wings are those?
Red Air wings. That looks
Okay.
like an adversary thing,
Yeah. I mean, they look
like
Like-
the aggressor wings.
dude, are our flight suits zipped that high up in the
Well,
photos?
Yours is slightly higher than mine, but it looks like my zipper is a paperclip.
Yeah.
And I got the little Peter pocket still on my
Yeah, to keep your
Inner
pens from
thigh.
falling out. That's what the flap on the flight suit's for, man.
oh, that's right, that too. But no,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Peter
Oh,
pocket, the
I
knife
got you.
pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody would have
Yeah.
ripped that off, and you've got some kind of European thing on your leg.
Those are my notes. Notice nothing's written down. It's like
He was
even-
playing tic-tac-toe with himself.
I will pretend that I'm reading my notes in the debrief, but actually there's nothing there but just white paper.
Yeah, I always loved how I used to take notes, and I never looked at them ever again.
Yeah.
I couldn't even read them, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
I
yeah,
know.
out of position. Oh, yeah, I was out of position there. Shoot when? Yeah, I should have shot
Well,
there.
Dude, when I became an instructor, like I had to take notes, and because you can't fake it, man. And there were a couple times where, like, I remember early on, before I kind of got my shorthand down, where we would do in the Navy. I don't know how they do it in the Air Force or even in the Navy anymore, but we would do like, my debrief, and then we would go to the tapes of the FOCO and watch. And I remember like what actually
all
happened
wrong.
was totally different than what just sitting there like, oh, how do I backpedal out of this?
The worst thing I ever did in the flug was BFM. It's like the very first BFM, right?
Yeah, it's
And
a hard one.
offensive BFM. And they expect you to draw.
Oh yeah.
And dude, my penmanship is bad. Like I can't draw, I can't write. I can't do any of this stuff. And they want you to reconstruct it from the tapes every, 45, 90 degrees based on the heading. So you're drawing with your instructor there who's just sitting there laughing at you, and you're like, "Er?" And he's like, "Er?"
Yep.
And it's ridiculous because you learn nothing from it. It's a nonsensical waste of time. I hope they don't do that still, but I'm sure they do because it's the Air Force, and that's the kind of the crap we would still do. There was a weapons school paper written in like 2008 that said chalk is dead, but no one wanted to adopt it.
Well, towards the end of my tour as an IP, we got to where if something crazy happened at a merge or whatever, I'd draw it out on the board, but like I would not recreate it on the whiteboard. We would just do the
To watch the lines.
debrief from my notes, admin, tech, admin, safeties, and then we go to part of it was driven due to work because I was doing 2 and 3 events a day. We just didn't have time, so.
Well, that, and it's a colossal waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. FOCO was so good. It's like, man, what are we doing?
Well, yeah. I mean, why waste everybody's time while I fumble through this? I don't know. You think Fat Amy does that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, for sure. But do you remember the like the A models that we flew and the old C's I flew? They literally had like tapes. So there really wasn't. We really didn't have like the Super Hornet had the FOCO data.
Oh, we had PCDS, dude, in the Viper, and it was Nat's ass.
Was it?
We wasted time. Yeah.
Did you guys have actual tapes like we had in 204?
We had 8mm tapes to watch from your HUD,
Right.
but and later it became DVR, which made it even better because once we switched to the DVR, it automatically sync from the HUD to the lines.
Right.
So everything was synced up. But before, you had the 8mm, the tape. So you had a tape deck that you'd have to sync up, and then you'd have PCDS, and that would be separate because that's just based off GPS data.
Yeah, the Rhino, everything was all digital on the on the brick or whatever. But yeah, man, we had these giant. Do we have one at 204? That the giant tower with a cathode ray TV on top.
Oh yeah,
Like,
dude. Oh
you
yeah.
spend-
I did my my what do you call it? Swifty
yeah.
in with those things. I mean, all the BFM sorties and stuff. We were
It's
doing
horrible. You spend like 15 minutes
because you got to sync them. You got to sync your radar tape, and you got to
Yes,
sync the
dude.
thing, and you got to.
It's an art.
Yeah.
It's an art. I wonder how much
Sweet.
that tower apparatus
It's probably like
costs.
$50,000. It's probably some stupid number that is way more expensive than if we just used iPads with lines.
And I think that's
what they do now.
Right now, dude.
Somebody said, "Hey, why don't you show the other one?"
What other? Oh, dude, she's big. Like Luna grew.
I shrank.
She's
You see, this is the size I would need to be with the amount of gear I could wear to fit in that Corvette. This is it.
yeah.
This is it.
Well, it's not
It
really
tr-
designed as a
It
police
tried, dude. It made her a corgi or some variation thereof,
car. That's cool.
and then
Deputy
It-
Bell.
it Lamonic C. Luns
All ages. I love it.
with the
All
whip.
ages. Oh, that's funny.
Dude, eventually we'll do a show, but probably not tonight.
Oh, dude, the show's going good.
Navman said, "Where is your no shave chit mover? Ha 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 ha. You're not my real dad."
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, I'm a real dad. Heat seeker, Gonky, the one ship strike package.
Yeah, probably gonna have mission failure if that's the case, man. We're gonna make it.
It's ground aboard.
It's ground report, yeah.
Aaron says, "Doug mutes so he doesn't yawn on the air again." Doug, now that he has the internets, is a professional gamer streamer. I actually watched his stream today.
Oh, very professional. Yeah, yesterday it was half the screen.
Doug, are you doing DCS?
I was doing DCS with Mover and I forgot I was in VR, so people only got to see one eye. They were watching my right eye for an hour and a half.
Yar.
Well,
the one
Doug, what-
without the monocle, too. It was,
Right.
the left
What were
eye.
you flying, Doug?
Alternately Heinz and Apaches.
Mm.
Like Nick Cage, dude. But he didn't put a panty on his head, so we could only see out of his left eye.
That was
Perfect.
it.
Yeah. But you can find him at Gen_X_gamer.
Gamer was taken.
I stand corrected. Pardon
I wish.
moi. Max says Illinois State Police had a Suzuki Gixxer 1000.
Wow.
That's a good way to die.
Yeah. No, I don't have the maturity for that.
Also, why? What are you gonna do? Like,
Dude, it's just-
like you get there and then what?
Well, it's just like the C8. I mean,
C8, at least you could put him in the passenger seat. You put a laptop. You can do something.
just pretend there's a cage right here.
Dude, I've seen agencies put people in the front seat, and I'm like,
No.
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 A lot of the highway interdiction units will do that. They'll
You're
interview
riding-
people in the front seat, and I'm like, woohoo, no. First
riding
of all, I
front.
have too much crap up there. Like I got my little seat caddy with all my stuff up there. I ain't moving that. Second, no, thank you.
No, it's a bad idea.
Gonky talking like he's a cop. That's a bad idea. I wouldn't do
It is a
that.
bad idea, dude.
Again, for good buddy. Cole says, just made it through IFC at Right Pat last week. Struggle with depth perception. Don't we all?
Yeah.
But still passed. Hell yeah. Just
Nice,
waiting for
man.
the OTS dates. Good. Congratulations.
That's awesome, Cole.
Good job. It's never the outer ones.
Keep going. Let us know how it goes.
And then Aaron, when you take notes, it helps commit it to memory, even if you never look at it again. Fundamentals of learning.
True.
Don't come at me with that stuff.
It's true.
I took notes in the debrief so it looked like I was on the ball. Like, oh, the mover's so
yeah.
look how mover's really going to learn from this.
Oh, yeah.
I usually
Yeah.
did.
Then you flip it over. It's like, dude, look at all those notes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like squiggly lines is all it is.
Yeah.
I really, dude, I don't know where
Like
I went
grocery
wrong.
list, dude. Apples. I need some bananas.
My penmanship never got sufficient, and then it got worse over time.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably some psychology in that. Doug, do you play with Casmo? Ask Gundam Blade.
I was answering that one in text, so I'll answer it with my voice. He hasn't invited me back since the last time when he gave me this really detailed Apache school, and I was just like, gun go Bert.
Was I there for that, or did you do something solo?
Remember the one where somebody shot my tail off and it just kept flying?
The zombie.
Yeah, the zombie Apache.
Yeah, that's the opening scene for our Twitch stream.
That was after school was over.
All right, let's talk about some stuff. It's hard to we wanted to. There's too many of them to do individual, and I think to sum it up, first that we can talk about, there was a New York tour company helicopter crash, very tragic, killed an entire family. Navy veteran pilot. So he had been enlisted in the Navy, I think, Navy SEAL. I don't know if he was a SEAL or worked with the teams. I've seen multiple reports, but either way, a veteran moved on to his next career flying helicopters with a Spanish family, the CEO of a subsidiary company, I think a Siemens, and rapidly disassembled in flight. And unfortunately, they were killed. And today, I don't know if you saw, Gonky, but the FAA has reported that they have ceased operations. That tour company has ceased operations.
I saw that. Yeah.
Which is very interesting because I don't know that I've seen such a rapid announcement and an announcement from the FAA that they are being investigated and had ceased operations, which tells me maybe some maintenance stuff has been immediately identified.
Yeah.
Probably. There's been some prevailing theories on what might have happened. We've talked about mass bumping as the resident helicopter guy on this channel, which is just of two. But between the two of us, mass bumping is something that is a threat with that rotor system. It can lead to the tail being chopped off in certain conditions. However, from my knowledge, which again is imperfect, and from what I have read and understood, the Robinsons had a big problem with this because low inertial blade system and much smaller, and the way the mast is set up, it's very prone to that. That's why you do SFAR 73 training. The Bell 206s, which is what this was, it was, I think, a 206L, have this as well, but it's just less prevalent than the Robinson because the Robinson's just known for it. But usually in either event, when it happens, it is caused by some form of maneuvering, whether it's rapid control deflection, whether it's negative G flight, like a pushover, turbulence, something is causing that mass to bump, which causes the blade to bend because it's coning and tilting and hitting that tail, chops the tail off, and it's a bad time. The video I have seen has it flying straight and level. It doesn't look like, I know a lot of people had gotten another video confused where there was a maneuvering, and it wasn't even a 206. It was some other helicopter maneuvering in the inadvertent in the IMC kind of conditions, bad weather. But the videos that have come out did not show bad weather. And I think the forecast and the actual reported conditions were not any kind of IMC or instrument meteorological conditions. Didn't look like there was really windy, because windy days, winds coming off the buildings, winds coming off thermals, and well, not here, but in other places. But wind in general can cause that. Heat can cause it. I don't think there was anything that would have immediately caused it with atmospheric conditions. Now, does that mean he didn't encounter birds, drones, something, try to avoid it last second? Maybe. But just looking at it, it doesn't look like there were the conditions for a mass bumping situation. This looks like something else caused the entire thing to disassemble. What that is, we won't know probably for a year or more as the NTSB does their investigation. There's no black box. There's no cockpit voice recorder. These helicopters don't come equipped with that. They're not required to have that. So, Gonky, I mean, I know you're not a helo guy, but you've looked at the reports. What are you thinking on that one?
Yeah, like you said, initially I thought, the mass bump, but then I saw the one video where they're just trucking along straight and level, and it looks like it just, like you said, begins disassembly. The one thing that struck me a little bit, I mean, I don't, you know, in Navy safety school, we studied helicopter crashes, and we studied one where there's a Marine CH-53 that was just cruising along, and there was something with the rotor blade that failed, and then what ended up happening was the rotor blade and transmission just left
Together.
Yeah. They
Wow.
found it like I don't know, like a quarter mile, like from where 90 off from like where the crash site was. And when I saw the entire it's kind of a blurry video, but I mean, it's just strange to see the entire rotor assembly just come off a helicopter like that. I mean, the tail did come off first, but I think if there was a clearer video, we'd probably be able to see it. But it kind of reminded me of that accident we studied there in Navy safety school I think the transmission in the 53's case, I think the rotor blade, something happened with the rotor blade, and it that out of balance just slung the entire assembly and the transmission and everything out. And then 53 is a massive helicopter, but
Right.
but I thinking through it, I don't know how the rotor boom would come off first, because it's kind of hard to see. But dude, they're, like you said, they're flying along straight and level, and unless there was just a sudden input at the controls that we just can't see from the video, man, I don't know.
It would have to be pretty. I mean, you have to go full, and then like it's pretty deliberate. And it's not like the passenger could have done it, because the passengers typically, there are no controls on that side, right? They remove the controls, so just the one side.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. I mean, and the 206 is it's a really safe helicopter.
Very safe.
I mean, the Navy uses them now for their a version of it for their the 206
For training, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Not anymore. They haven't in like 5 years.
No, dude, I saw them today.
Really?
Yes.
I thought they sold them all.
No, I mean, they're integrating that new helo, which is a cool looking helicopter. But yeah, they're still flying. I still see the old 206.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 100%.
You sure?
Yeah, because every time they come over my house, I always go outside.
They auction them all off.
No, I tell my kids, watch out. Those are the bottom feeders in flight school. It's a joke, but
oh god,
just
Helios, do not put this in the clip.
Dude, it's a Navy joke, man. Come on.
Really? I thought they got rid of them.
No, dude, look it up, Doug.
Tell
him. Tell the man.
TH-73. They still are flying the thing.
TH-57. Sir.
Nope. I got rid of it, dude. Now it's the Leonardo TH-73.
I'm gonna take a picture and send you one.
Yeah, you do that because it's TH-73.
That's the new one.
Okay. You might have seen one because they started sundown in 2023. It concludes in 2025. So Gonky has seen like the 3 that still fly.
Yes, they are transitioning to the Leonardo, which is a super cool looking.
No, don't start saying it's super cool looking. You don't get to,
it is a good looking
to insult the helicopter community and then say that their helicopter looks cool.
The helicopter looks cool, but the people flying it typically aren't the. Anyways, yeah, dude, it's a safe helicopter is the moral of the story. So, I don't know. Like you said, there's no black box. There's no CVR. I mean, it's horrible. The whole family here on vacation,
dude.
I mean,
and the way it hit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you didn't die until you hit the water kind of thing. And that's last second of your life.
And then, I mean, yeah, there's no airfoil or rotor for an auto rotation to.
No, it was separated. It was off spinning on its own. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You talk about that they may or I saw in the news where they had ceased operation. Dude, they might have just had one helicopter,
Well, a lot of people in the chat are talking about they may have for insurance reasons,
okay.
Folded, but usually that's the kind of thing that they announce. I don't know that I've seen the FAA announcing it like, hey, they've ceased operations and
Right.
we're investigating them.
Yeah,
It's
not
a little
FAA.
different.
You're saying it's not FAA mandated shutdown.
No, I'm saying it might be. The fact that the
Oh,
FAA
okay.
has said that they have shut down while we're investigating them. I don't remember the FAA, like when Kobe's crash happened, I think that company folded too, but that was insurance and liability and all that stuff. I mean, it's been so long, but I don't remember them being like, oh, hey, you know, the FAA saying we're investigating them and they ceased operations. You know, that's interesting.
Yeah,
But
very sad.
And then another sad one in Florida, Cessna 310 appears to have had a hard over rudder and made multiple passes around the field and eventually attempted a landing, and it was unsuccessful. And all 3 occupants, including their teenage daughter, were tragically killed. And that's one of those things where it's just like you fly the thing all the way to the end. I mean, he did
Yeah, I don't understand. I've got a decent amount of time in a Cessna 340, which is the big brother to the 310. And I mean, those controls, they're not hydraulically boosted or nothing. It's all, you know, cables and pulleys and whatever. But I don't know I'm trying to think what would cause a hard over, unless something broke and it's the trim tab that's holding it, or the, you know what I'm saying? That's aerodynamically, it's all the way over there. I don't know.
You wouldn't think it's streamlined aerodynamically, right?
Yeah. And I don't know, man, unless you know how they put that little, I don't know, dude.
Yeah. Or something jams or binds.
Yeah.
You know, something like physically, I don't know. There's no gust lock on rudders, huh? On those aircraft?
No, I think, well, the 340, I think, just had a pin that went straight through the yoke column that it slid into to keep the elevators and the ailerons from moving. But yeah, because even in the 340, the nose wheel steering was hooked to we used the pedals for the nose wheel steering too. So no, there was no rudder. I don't remember there being a rudder lock on the 340.
I've flown, I got like 3 hours in a 310, and I don't remember any of the nuts and bolts behind it, but you can see it when it flies over. It's full deflection. So
yeah, I don't even know. I guess my other thought is, like, when in flight would you kick the rudder to full deflection for it to fit? You know what I'm saying? Like if it got stuck. I guess
if
again,
you lost an engine.
Right, exactly.
Only if you lost an engine would you be on that much rudder.
Yeah, and you'd have to be. Yeah, you have to be.
So something had to cause it to fully deflect.
Yeah.
Which.
Right, and that's why I keep thinking about it in my head, like, how the hell did the rudder get to full deflection and stay there with that kind of design? You know, so.
Two
but
sets of control, something. I mean, it could be. I mean, something in the cockpit, you know.
The baggage compartment, I think on some 310s is like behind the back seat. So maybe, and you know,
like
the cables and pulleys and everything run back there. So that's the other thing I was thinking about, that maybe.
Wasn't that what happened with that 747 at Bagram when the unsecure load went back? It hit the controls back there. I mean, it hit those cables.
Yeah. And I think
they could not. I mean, like they nothing they could do at that point because it just.
Yeah, it went all the way back. I think it crushed the hydraulic system too. Then the AFCG, they had nothing to counter it.
Yeah.
But in a GA airplane, I think the 310, dude, depending on the model, I don't know which model they were in, but some of them have the baggage in the back. So I thought maybe some bags are pretty much and you were a GA owner. Usually you keep a little Tupperware of like a quart of oil, a roll of paper towels, and maybe some gloves and stuff in there just in case you know you're at some field somewhere and you're a quart of oil low. So I don't know, man, maybe something flew back in the empennage there and got jammed in the cables and pulleys and then caused that.
Yeah, there's nothing I was looking to see if maybe there was like something known. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, like an AD or something.
yeah, but all it comes
Yeah.
up is that same thing.
Again, 310, man, is for a twin. That's a popular twin, and it's a safe airplane. I mean, it's one of the most popular outside of the Baron, probably for a light twin. It's probably one of the more popular.
So the rudder, I'm reading. I've got the book here.
Oh, look at you!
It's an all metal rudder, has a fiberglass tip which encloses a lead weight used for static balance. The rotating beacon is installed in the fiberglass tip. The rudder trim tab located at the trailing edge of the rudder is actuated by a push-pull tube, which is routed through the rudder to an actuator in the vertical fin. The rudder attached to the vertical fin with 3 hinges is operated by cables attached to a bell crank in the lower hinge. So the bell crank could fail, right?
But then if it failed, hopefully it would just fared, right? With the slipstream.
Yeah. You got that trim tab.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that video is kind of hard to watch, man. I mean,
so there's a whole thing of the rudder control system. Rudder is operated by movement of the pilot's rudder pedals. The pedals are connected to torque tubes, which have link arms for attachment of the rudder cables. The rudder cables are attached to the torque link arms and routed over a pulley. It said trouble, lost motion between rudder pedals and rudder. Cable tensions too low, broken pulley, bolts attaching rudder to bell crank are loose, cable tension too high. Excessive resistance to pedal movement. Rudder pedals not neutral when rudder is streamlined. Aft rudder cables incorrectly rigged. Incorrect rudder travel. Rudder bell crank stop incorrectly adjusted. Correct rudder travel cannot be attained. Rudder pedals contacting fuselage bulkhead.
it's the other thing, man. I mean, did it just come out of maintenance? I don't know.
Yeah. So there's a whole troubleshooting guide. It's interesting.
That's in the POH.
No, this is the 310 service manual I've somehow come across.
Look at you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sad though, man. I mean, that, like I said, that video is kind of hard to watch. I mean, multiple attempts, and I mean, you got it close. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
No bueno.
Anyway, and then there was a MU2 crash in New York. It killed 6 people, and details are kind of limited on that one. But man, it's just been.
Yeah. Again, man, we keep kind of going back to like, is it just because information is so much faster now that we're more privy, or is it the spotlight, or are things really, happening at a greater rate than they were in the past?
No, I think we are looking at high emphasis items because aviation's in the news a lot, because the DCA crash, Jeju, DCA, like every mishap is going to be scrutinized, especially the helicopter thing. The New York, are you okay? You need a minute? You sure? You want to, why you?
Sorry, dude.
Every mishap is going to be scrutinized, because especially the helicopter stuff, because of what happened in DC, because everybody wants to, just like when Kobe's crash happened, everybody wanted to say, well, helicopters are dangerous, which the helicopter actually wasn't the problem with Kobe's crash. It was aeronautical decision making.
Yes. Yeah. Valid.
So yeah, Michael wants to know, did you bring some for the whole class?
I love it. Live shows are the best.
Yeah, why not?
You
Renee says he may have said low fuel. Would it have just fallen apart from that? No. I don't know where that came from. I mean, I know where it came from. Was he said he was returning for fuel, because that's what you do, right? You're like, okay, because they're making position reports on the Hudson, and he's talking to his company, and somebody overheard the communications or whatever, him talking about going back for fuel. But in a helicopter, you can run out of gas and still the blades will keep turning. They might stop turning if you don't do the proper actions, which is to lower the collective and aft cyclic. If you don't do those two things immediately, the rotor blades will stop turning because you gotta auto rotate. But if you just run out of fuel, it's not going to cause that disassembly in that violent of a manner. That was something I think one of the news agencies caught on to, and they don't hire the best.
Mover bullying. It's a nice change.
Andy says the beer transfer operation seems to have been successful.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have it back at some point.
Thomas says Gonky bullying helo pilot.
It's sport, man. Come on.
Speaking of bullying helo pilots, it's the last class, Gonky. So next week or some other time in the future, you will not be correct.
But I'm correct now.
You are halfway correct.
It's all right, dude. It's okay.
Mhm.
The internet has proved me right.
All right, Douglas, hit it.
Oh, yeah.
Which part of this do you want to watch? The whole thing?
The whole thing. Why
Yeah.
not?
4 minutes. Okay. Even the parts in Korean.
Well, not that part. You were perfect, and then you ruined it.
Here we go. It's another view of the Jeju. Is this on the
Go
go
back.
around?
Go back.
How
No,
far
I
back?
think you went too far to the start of the actual footage.
No, that's
Right
it.
there. Give it just a second. There you
No,
go.
watch this. Watch
Right
when you see it. Because you can see a
Yep.
There it is.
Yep. Is it mover? This is on the go around, right? This film.
Mhm. Now, is this the same angle as the first one? I'm sorry, the same time as the first angle? Or is this when they're doing their teardrop? Because it looks
Either.
like it's the beginning, at least the full teardrop. But remember we're going to have to find that original video.
It looks like they're doing the go around, and he the right engine.
He dumped
cough.
the nose. You could see him
Oh,
dump
yeah.
the nose,
Oh yeah.
get some airspeed back.
Yeah. Some more. Looks like some more smoke coming out of the right engine. I mean, he has some thrusties right now. I mean, if he's climbing, and still flying, because the reports were they found bird remains in both engines, right?
I did not hear that, but wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. So I mean, he still has to be under power here. Now, how much power? Anybody's guess. Yeah, I don't know. The 37 degrees is okay.
Dude, I think minimal power.
You think so?
That's
I
hard to
mean,
tell.
he flew that whole loop
Yeah.
at basically the same altitude, right?
No, you're right. I mean, he did climb and then
Yeah, exactly.
push the nose over.
And I mean, it's flying right now, and I mean, the engine's.
And this thing doesn't have a rat, so it's not like you can look at it and be like, "Oh yeah, the
Right.
ram air turbine's deployed." There's no rat on the 737.
Yeah, and then that's it. They. I think it's just a replay here, isn't it, Doug?
Doug, can you find the go around?
In this video or the other video of it?
Other video.
I'll look for it. Yeah, I think this just repeats from here.
Yeah. Mover, what's your take on that video, man? On this one here, right here.
I would like to look at the other. Here it is. I found it. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Because what's interesting to me.
Yeah,
Hold on.
I'm curious. I'm curious how many bird strikes they had. You know what I'm saying? Like,
All right. So is it sharing yet? No, there we go. So here's the original, right? This is from they're already on the
Yep.
go.
they're good. Yeah.
So I think this,
Same video, different angle.
right. That's what I was trying to find. That's what I was trying to figure out, because otherwise it's showing multiple incidents with that one engine. So whatever happened to the left engine happened prior to them going around.
Right. So the captain called a go around because of the birds. I wonder if that was on the left engine.
Because right. Because see how there's a little bit coming out of that left engine there?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of doing the same thing. Nope, never mind. There it is. I mean, I think that is the same as what we see in that video, because it's already cleaned up. He's already going around. Somebody started recording after the fact. So I don't know, man. Without a cockpit voice recorder to say what they were thinking, or, I would be interested to see what the engines were producing. Were they,
well, we know, I mean, you do specific more than me. If they're doing a go around and they hit birds with the right engine, you get the pop like the video shows. It does appear like the thing starts slowing down, and then he's got to dump the nose, right, to get the airspeed back. A 7.3 should have no problems climbing out on one engine, right?
I mean,
it's basically sea level there, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, they're probably lighter weight because of the, it's been a long, I think they just flown overnight.
Right. What I'm getting at is, I think it's odd, because in the Airbus, you never have to dump the nose to get speed if you lose an engine, right? You follow the flight directors, but it's always in some sort of, in like a V1 cut, it's always, a positive rate of climb. And that video clearly shows the 7.3. It looks like to me it was kind of losing energy, starting to drift down, and then, the captain or whoever was flying the FO pushed the nose down to get the speed back up. And then they kind of stayed down there, right? They didn't climb back up. So I'm curious, man, if the left engine was operating normally, because twin engine airliners are designed to be able to climb out on one engine. I mean,
or
am I
they
crazy?
pulled it back.
Or they pulled it back. But I mean,
that would not be the first time the wrong engine's been pulled back.
That's true. That's true. But the way they flew kind of level across the horizon and did their teardrop back indicates to me that, I mean, some thrusties were working and keeping them at whatever altitude they were at. It looks maybe they were at, I don't know, 1,000 feet maybe, as they did their whole arc and came around. I still don't know why they wouldn't put the gear down, right? Because we talked about before with 7.3, right, you can unlock and release the hides and they come down, right?
Well, yeah, but if they had lost everything, including, if you had a dual engine failure and you had no, not even windmilling hydraulics, generators are offline, I could see them being like, we just got to get this thing on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, like, I can see,
but can you put the gear down?
Oh yeah, you just pull the things. They're
right.
locked.
Gravity,
it just releases the locks. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is like from a go around to an attempted landing in an airliner, that is an incredibly quick turn. Like, there's no time to change the runway in the box and like run the landing data and all that stuff. Those guys literally just turned and tried to land. So at least in their minds, the situation must have been pretty desperate. I'm just curious what did they have as far as engines go? Because to me, that single engine climb out wasn't,
All right, this is
normal.
this is going to be some Inception level stuff here.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Look at these guys.
I'm trying to find the footage. So which engine is
The right engine.
the right engine is producing thrust?
Oh, that's right. Look at that, dude. That's right.
That's what I was thinking, right? So
Oh shit! Yeah.
we've now have multiple videos of the pop bang. All right, it's too creepy. I can't look at myself looking at myself.
That is weird.
But now we have, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that engine's producing thrust. It's not shut down.
Mm-mm. So, yeah. So what happened to the left engine? Was it running? If it wasn't running, why wasn't it running? Did it take
Right.
birds and they shut it down, or did it not take birds and they shut it down?
I mean, that would go with the dual generator failure,
Yeah.
right? If you had a bad engine and a shutdown engine,
Yeah.
you know, and it also goes with him pushing the nose over,
That would 100% explain why.
pushover.
Yeah, why they had to, because that is an unusual maneuver in an airliner.
Well, right. So what I'm saying is, if you think about this, when you go through let's say the captain's flying, new FO's inexperienced. This is purely speculative. Like I'm just spitballing here. New FO and our QRC, quick reaction card, you know, what we use. I don't know what this airline is or whatever, but if you've got catastrophic damage to an engine and you're shutting it down, right? Typically, we are, you know, auto throttle off on that affected engine, then take that affected engine, bring it to idle, then cut off. But let's say you didn't. Let's say you didn't confirm because he's already got his hands full, you know, because it's doing its thing, pop, banging, and buzz. Guy reaches up, turns it off, but not be the first. Dude, I've done it in the sim. Like I've reached up and turned the wrong auto throttle off and caught it. But it's easy to see a scenario where somebody does that and now he didn't have time to do a restart, right? A restart is not, you know, hey, flip it back on and it's going to light. There's a procedure for that. So it could very well have been, you know, whoever the pilot monitoring was accidentally shut down the wrong engine. And now you're flying off the you know, you're getting whatever thrust you could out of the compromised motor, which is why it's got that heat plume off of it, the heat blur. And he's just like, let's just get it to the ground. And remember, we don't know what they were saying back and forth. So if you got a frazzled crew member, yes, it's an easy procedure if you're expecting it. But if you ask me without thinking of this incident, hey, do an emergency gear extension, I'd be like, okay.
Where's my ECAM?
Like that's not it's not a memory item.
No,
it's not. It's something that, because the way the procedure is designed, you're thinking we're going to be straight and level. We're probably going to be, you know, burning down fuel. We got time. It's not a memory item. So whoever's flying, whether it's captain of the FO, I would almost assume it's the captain. And the reason for that is because this guy was an experienced F-16 pilot. And so when you're an experienced Viper guy, you're always thinking what happens when the engine fails and you're doing flame out land, you know, because that's dude, he spent his career thinking this
you're
way.
right.
I mean, I think about
100%.
this way all the time.
Yeah.
Law of primacy, right? Yeah. So this thing is not producing the thrust that he's expecting. And he's like, I'm going to get this back to the runway. He's managing his energy coming around. He's an experienced 7.3 guy. He knows how to fly it in that regime. Gets it around the corner. You know, he's like, look, I know if I got it on this good piece of concrete, we're probably going to be okay. right? Not thinking about the berm, not thinking about runway length and stuff like that, but that engine's still producing thrust. So, I mean, probably what we all do as Viper guys, right? More energy is better than no energy. So we maintain our energy all the way around to be higher energy because it's, we always think it's easier to bleed off. You get around that corner and he's just got too much smash. He's got too much smash, goes off the end of the runway, and now you see the end result. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to, we're never, I don't know if we're ever going to know what happened in the cockpit, but just me as a dude that has been through recurrent 4 times in the last, I spend my life in the sim doing stuff like this now. I could easily see a situation where crew coordination breaks down, somebody gets frazzled, wrong thing happens, we don't have time to fix it. We're just going to do the best we can with what we have.
Yeah. No, I mean, people shut down the wrong engine. It's not, it happens. It's not common, but it's not uncommon either.
Yeah.
That's wild,
otherwise it makes no sense.
No,
that
they should have had one good engine, take them, normal stuff, fly around out there.
Unless the left engine was worse than the right, but all evidence we've seen is the right engine is having the classic symptoms of a compressor stall. It is the flame out the back.
Yeah.
We have not seen any evidence to suggest that the left engine was doing anything abnormal, at least through the go around.
Does the 800 have a FADEC? Does it have FADECs on the motors? Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing was, in my mind, it was shut down before the go around. Like, that's the only way that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right.
That it had been shut down when they
didn't
cleaned
climb
up.
out. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were, because otherwise there's no point where you're like, there's the big fireball. There's they're getting thrust out of something.
Yeah, you're right. But it's less thrust than they
EEC.
Yeah, it's less thrust than they are expecting, and obviously it's less thrust than it should be putting out, because, like I said, it was good of him to push the nose over, because it's better than stalling out and crashing. But
the other part we're going to have to look at is, why did they even do a go around?
Yeah, exactly.
Go arounds are free, but 9 times out of 10,
you're on a stabilized approach, right?
Yeah. But I've also seen the argument like, hey, they went around to avoid the birds. Yeah, and just, you know what I mean? Because like if I see a flock, I'm on short, I'm at 1,000 feet or 1,500 feet, and I see a flock of seagulls, and I'm like, I can't get around them to make a stabilized approach. Yeah, I want to go around, because you're avoiding something. And unfortunately, it happened anyway. I could see that. But if they went through it, lost an engine, and then went around, I'm like, dude, I'd probably just land. But that's also something, it's hard to overcome training, because when we do these training events, we're wired to go around, because we practice. We go to the sim to practice go arounds, because go arounds are not, they're always, I think they said 25% of go arounds in real life are screwed up.
Oh yeah. Mine's 100%, but go on.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you know, that training scar of everything's a go around, how often do we train? Hey, just land it.
Yeah. The mantra I was taught as a fighter pilot was flyable, landable, stoppable. The really quick, 1 second sanity check. Like, should I land this thing now? Do you have those 3 things? Then yes, just land.
I think though that the reality, we feel for the victims.
Oh, dude.
And whether they made the right choice or the wrong choice, I think the pilots did the best that they could. And history is always the judge. But we look at this with perfect 2020 hindsight, sitting here at 1G and 0 knots.
Well, in training events, especially in the military, I've been in those scenarios where, in my mind, I've done everything correctly and the airplane is not responding as it should. And, it's sad to me, because I can sympathize with those pilots, because, man, I'm sure in their minds are like, why aren't we climbing? You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on? Like the
Yeah.
feeling of what's actually happening is not what you perceive is happening. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So a
or
loss of
or
SA.
at that moment where you see the nose pitch down is the moment where that engine got shut down, and it's like, oh crap, you know,
Maybe.
that's a
Yeah.
response. You know, why is the airspeed bleeding as I'm trying to climb in toga?
Yeah. But
You know,
I
because
mean,
that's a G sensation. You know, because that thing,
yeah.
it,
Oh
it,
yeah. I know. It's
um,
just, dude, it's horrible. I hope we do find out. I mean, last week I was reading, I mean, there's still, I mean, all those families and stuff, they want to know, man, you know,
yeah.
if closure and, you know, mistakes are made, you know, if the pilot's messed up or if, I don't know, you know, that's how we learn.
I hope we can.
I know.
And there's always the third option. Something else went wrong. You know, something that we didn't even know about. I mean, how many times have we had mishaps where there's some airworthiness directive that comes out that says, oh yeah, we didn't know that under this condition, this will happen, and resulting in loss of thrust in both engines. Like, well, that'd have been called MCAS. You know, I mean,
Right.
like we found out about MCAS through horrific mishaps. Now, that was another carrier in another country that was not adequately briefed or trained on what they were about to do, and they
Right.
had the rest of their lives to figure it out. And that's very sad that, you know, that happened, but it would not be the first time where a mechanical failure is compounded by
Right.
human error.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like you said, maybe it's also a training thing. The human error was
Yeah.
caused by, hey, you didn't train him on this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sad,
Yeah. I
dude.
mean, Sully was, I mean, you know, how many times in the movie Sully, they talked about nobody had ever trained for, you know, dual engine failure. That was just what it's not a thing we'd talk about.
No, we
Yeah.
talk about it now.
I did it in seventh, like I think it's at the end of my initial training, you know, where it's like, okay, we're done. You want to try, you know, you take off out of DFW, you get to 3,000 feet. Can you turn it back around and land it? You know, and, you know, of course I could, because
you're awesome. I know.
I'm awesome. Yeah. Also, Viper guy. I know how to, once you tell me the numbers, I'm like, oh yeah. And I think they let me sit in the left seat and use the HUD. And I'm like, oh, dude, once you give me the HUD, it's easy, dude.
Cheating.
It's nothing.
Yeah, that's cheating. Yeah. You're from the right seat where you'd be sitting.
Yeah, no.
Captain's, he had a heart attack. It scared him so bad.
That is training now.
What?
No,
that was a joke. That was a joke.
Hold on. Let me take the banner down so we're not talking about this. No shit. That is training. Incapacitated captain, rejected takeoff.
Huh?
I had to do a rejected takeoff from the right seat in my last recurrent.
How did they set that up? Did they just say, just do it? Or did they try to surprise you with like, hey dude, just pretend like you're croaked and see what he does?
It was, I mean, because all these training events, they tell you, you know, it's nothing is really a startle factor so much, but like he told the captain, he's like, hey, you're going to be incapacitated on this one.
And you heard it. So you knew.
I knew that, yes, on one of the takeoffs, it was going to be incapacitated captain. And so he gave me, so basically I made the call. So he's the pilot flying, right? Well, I think that's how it was. Yeah. Because it was it might have been me. It might have been me because the way I knew was he didn't make the call outs. So like he didn't do like the 80 call. And
right.
then
Dude,
and then
okay?
we get like an engine failure at 120 knots or whatever. And it's like, he says nothing. Like nothing happens.
See where this
goes. Incapacitated.
Mooper's like, we'll keep going. I'm single pilot now. I love it. Get this guy out of here.
I kept saying, I'm like, do I get paid captain pay for this portion? And I had to do the rejected takeoff. And then I had to make the radio call and I had to make the cabin call. Like I had to do all the stuff that he would do and I had to show him like, hey, I know how to make the PA and all that stuff. But yeah, I had to do no kidding, rejected takeoff. Because in your type ride, you do a rejected takeoff from the left seat.
Yeah.
But doing it from the right seat is a totally different animal, dude.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, dude. I don't remember if have I done one from the right seat? I don't know. I'm sure.
I don't know. That was the first time I'd ever seen that. I forgot about that. It just made me think of it. But yeah, captain doesn't.
Now,
Unresponsive captain.
Does where you're at, does the captain call the abort, or
Yes, you're not allowed to do a reject. See, that's the other part to that too, is, you know, we do this ancestor worship nonsense where FOs aren't allowed to call reject the takeoff, which I think is horseshit, by the
It
way.
is
I
100%.
think that's stupid.
Yeah.
I can't even call. I can call a go around. Anybody can call a go around, but I can't say, you know, vehicle on the runway, stop. Like if it had been a takeoff with an airplane crossing, I couldn't. All I can say is what I see and hope that he understands that my Queen's English is as good as his perception or reception of that. But
yeah, we're supposed to just call what we see, and they're supposed
call what
to,
you see.
But I was doing a check, and I called what I saw, and he kept going, and I wanted to stop. So the next words out of my mouth was abort. And then he did it right away.
I don't ever say abort. It's a reject my aircraft.
I don't, yeah. No, I said abort. That's because I don't know. Dude, rope, right? It's not a procedure, but like I knew we needed to stop. But like I go back to rope memory from the Navy, it's like abort, right? I'd have worn
the check air
100 knots hooked down.
Dude, he's like, but you didn't say the call outs. I was like, what call outs? So you're the FO. You're supposed to call out, 80, 60, speed brake, all that stuff. I'm like, I'm flying.
Yeah,
I can't do it all. He's like, you're supposed to do it.
Do you want me on center line, or do you want?
Dude, have you? Oh my god, a slow speed reject with those big airplanes is just like on an icy runway. Like I did one in like the snow in the sim, and I'm like, we're lucky we're still on the runway at all.
Yeah, it goes everywhere, dude.
Yeah,
so to speak.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's enough. 121. Views are my own and do not resist whatever those words. Colton says, is there any sort of training for Air Force pilots to get into trouble out over a body of water where they can't land on an airstrip and have to land on a carrier? Or is it better to ditch it? Eject, yeah. Safer. Eject near friendly forces if you can.
Yeah. Fly along the carrier and punch out, and we just pick you up with the helicopter.
Or the plane guard will just shoot you down.
Or the plane guard might. If it's the Gettysburg, 50-50 if the Gettysburg, man.
Turn your countermeasures off and fly right at the Gettysburg.
That's right.
It'll fix itself.
Happens. I dare you.
Oh, geez.
Too soon? No.
Too soon. Thomas Kazansky. Sorry, Kozak. That's why I move her like single engine, single seat. Hell yeah.
I like 2 engine.
Tech says, let's give the lads a thumbs up. Hey, did you see my interview with Naveed?
Yeah. I watched almost half of it.
Yeah. You guys need to go vote for them for the Weeby, if that's still a thing. I don't know when the deadline was, but they need to win because they can't lose to RuPaul and Dora the Explorer or something. Pokemon. It was Pokemon. They were losing. Because if they win, I don't know if you heard Naveed talking about racing a Corvette against a jet.
Really?
You said you watched it.
Yeah, but yeah, you guys were talking cars. I mean, I've watched like 15, 20 minutes of it.
Somebody asked the other day, they said, Mover, it looks like you want to punch Gonky. I was like, well, now that you mention it.
Sometimes, maybe.
Yeah, no, that was the whole announcement that we're going to do a Corvette ZR1 versus jet.
That's right. That's right.
With Mover driving.
Resurrected from the when they did in 09, see if the vet can win.
I don't know about that. It's all brand new stuff, Gonky. We're making up things as we go.
I think the jet's going to win.
9-second quarter mile, dude.
I think the jet's going to win. Well, which jet and what's the configuration? That's the real question.
It's who? I don't know. Somebody suggested, actually, Greg suggested it from the helicopters. He said the Red Bull team would be fun to do that against. But that one, I don't think, I honestly don't think it would be that close for that one.
Well, how far yeah, depends on how far the race is too.
Well, how long is the runway at Pensacola?
10,000, I don't know, 9,000 feet.
So you'd have to go to the end of the runway, turn around, come back.
Oh, jet's gonna win, dude.
Is it though? Because the jet's
Yeah.
got to turn around too.
He's gonna be doing like 450 miles an hour at the end of the at the end of the runway, man. That's like that's 300 miles per hour of overtake. I mean,
The Vet will do 200.
dude, it depends on how long the race is, dude.
I thought the one with the Bugatti, it barely beat the Bugatti.
was that a Typhoon that raced the
Yeah.
Bugatti?
Yeah, or
And
a
they
Fat
went-
Amy.
They went to the end and back.
Yeah,
The Typhoon won.
yeah, because that part really loses a lot of time.
It does, but dude, coming back the other way for the other half of the race, the Jets going
Now there's that.
ludicrous speed.
It's like I told Naveed, no matter who wins,
Everyone wins.
everyone wins.
Yeah.
Mover wins.
was
Which
thinking
Mover needs a win, dude. It's been a season of losing the last couple weeks. It's time to grow out of that.
Do you remember the Blue Devil versus the Blue Angel? That's what I'm talking about. They did it.
That
in
wasn't
09.
a turn. That was just a straight drag race.
That was a straight drag race, but
Yeah.
that was the way Motor Trend did that video. That was really cool. Well done. And I think it's time, like you
That's
said.
what it was. Fat Amy raced the Dutch Fat Amy.
I don't think I've seen that one.
No.
Yeah. My money's on the Jet. Unless they put like, tanks on it and all that nonsense.
Well-
But if it's slick,
I mean, this is assuming the Corvette even lets us have a ZR1. So there's that. Then the DOD approves the plan, gives us a jet to race.
they would do
Right
it. The
there.
Navy would do it.
Oh,
Not the Air Force. Forget it. The Air Force would be like, no,
yeah.
no chance. It's fun. Listen, it could boost morale. It could boost recruiting. Pretty much everything good. The Air Force is going to say no. 100%.
Did you put those links to the Air Force stuff, by the way, in here?
Elaborate.
The new commercial.
No, no.
It teases the F-47. That's why I sent
Really?
it to you. Yeah.
You
That's why I
sent
sent
it
it
to me?
to. Oh my
I actually do try to pay attention to the stuff you send me, Mover. Shocker. I'm going to have to look, dude, because I don't see it.
I sent it to you for the. Anyway, let's talk about the next one. You got this one.
What are we doing here? Oh, this is a cool video. Yes. So it's 1 year ago, right? 300.
The radar just lit up.
Yeah.
Was that a predator? What was that noise?
I don't know.
And standby
That's-
won't be able to talk to you. We're 1 minute to impact.
Nice mustache.
I just wrote about this in ACSC.
This is so cool.
Launch to survive and defend the base.
At that point, we were in an hour-long fight, just trying to kill whatever we could.
Yeah. The 300 drones I ran launched in Israel.
That is a good-looking passenger jet. I should
Get
quote
the green light
myself.
to take off. So this is another normal night mission, just like any other.
And we were out there for a couple hours with no real calm about anything having actually happened. So we thought, all right, maybe it's like off.
Boards gets the first lock, and boy, he does exactly what he was taught and shot within about 20 seconds to get in that lock.
All right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be the first one in my formation, and I'm by far the least experienced. I'm going to give someone else a chance to tell me not to before I do it. So I was like, "Hey, we're
That's
targeting."
valid.
That's awesome.
That's valid,
said
dude.
anything.
That's
And I
valid.
was like, "All right, we get a little closer."
You should ask this
Yep, there goes
passenger.
the missile. All right, boys, here we go.
That's a drone. And then the radar gets
Does he have a
another
dip in his mouth?
and another.
Is that a
It
Zen?
fills. It's all attack drones.
I would just say drone there, and then shoot. Missile would come off the rail. Drone destroyed. Next 8 engagements, and then it was like, wow, that happened fast.
The ground is on fire right now. You could see every single one of the drones where they hit.
And that just took about 45 minutes to shoot all of the missiles that we could off of that 4 ship before we had to come home out of missiles and try and get some more to go back up.
300 weapons
That's
were
awesome.
fired at a target man. 6 of them hit. No one died.
This is way, way bigger than me just shooting missiles at drones. This is defense of our coalition partners.
We got to be part of a thing that was meaningful and had an impact.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So it's been a year since the Strike Eagles went out and did good work, and we covered, right. They got a bunch of well-earned awards out of that. I think it's an awesome video they put together. Like you said, it's your favorite passenger jet. Strike Eagle is a awesome looking airplane, but
wow, what a expensive day.
yeah, it is expensive, and it's great, but at the same time, it kind of highlights, I don't know, like the future of air warfare, right? I mean, like you said,
You're ready for ACSC, Gonky. That's right there. You're ready for ACSC.
Not gonna happen. But you got to ask yourself, like, just like cost wise, like what did it cost?
Oh, dude,
Iran, and then
billions.
It costed Iran billions.
Us.
Yeah.
It was like a couple $1 billion, and
so yeah, I mean, all those Strike Eagles took off loaded with AMRAAMs. They shot every single one of them. There's 2 people they're paying to train. The Strike Eagle is a wonderful machine, but cost per flight hour. And when you're talking about defending lives, cost is kind of a moot point. But if you're trying to think about the future, okay, what if they launch 3,000 of these things next time? And what if this is just deploy? Because how fast can you manufacture these things? How fast can you? I mean, it's
well, what happens when you need them in a real war?
That too. Yeah. Or you launch your 3,000 drones the first day, everybody hoses off all their AMRAAMs. Yay, we're heroes. And the next day, the Su-57, all 2,000 of them come over the horizon.
There's like 15 of them, but yeah. Well, so tactics have changed. Like the Navy has learned these lessons, and I think so has everyone else, that they've started using the precision kill, the APIC whiz against them, laser guided rockets. So
yeah,
like I think we're adapting our tactics. So in I think this scenario, or maybe it was another one, because this is not the only one where they went down to the gun. So
yeah,
they launched all their missiles and were just down to the gun. What to me is most impressive about this, I mean, yeah, okay, you shot down a target that's not going to defend against you, and it's not offensive at you at all, like other than FOD.
It's droning.
Right.
Right.
But what's impressive in this thing is the large force employment of a night of 300 targets. The fact that no one ran into each other, no one shot each other down, because the comms, like they were talking about, I mean, it's just jibber, 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 jabber, target this, target this, target this, target this. It had to be insanity. And then double that, because there's 2 people in every jet. So you've got the comm in the cockpit, the comm outside the cockpit, and just the fog of war. And this wasn't something that we all trained for. This is like a pickup game. Like, hey, dude, here's your 8 AMRAAMs. Good luck. And to do that on the first attempt against that many targets and not have any friendly losses, whether it's running into each other or shooting somebody down, because guess what? Not too long after that, we learned that saturating an air picture with existing systems can lead to a fratricide. We've had a fratricide as a result of this.
Yep.
So, I mean, good on them. Phenomenal. Great job. I just hope that we can adapt so that, like you talked about, we're not expending everything on these smaller targets, so that, because manufacturing has always been a problem. Like, logistics win wars. That's how you win a war, is the logistics chain, being able to put bombs on target on time. And to do that, you have to have air superiority, which means you have to have enough missiles to clear the picture. And if you run out of missiles shooting down drones, what are you going to do when it's time to go do the work? And that is a scary proposition.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, you know, we're not cranking out, and I'm not saying we should be, but we're not cranking out airplanes and ships and stuff as fast as other countries can or are.
Yeah.
And that's, if you look at World War II, we were building Liberty ships faster than the Germans could sink them, right? So, and then if you just look at, us flying 38s against the Raptor, I mean, we just overwhelming numbers is a tactic.
Well, I mean, look at missiles.
No, that's what I'm saying.
How long does it take to build a missile, and how long does it take to replenish 300 missiles?
Well, yeah, I brought it up before, like, when 20 years ago when I first started flying the Hornet, and they talked about, the Pacific theater and what day one would look like. I was like, how many missiles do they carry on the ship? It's like, it's pretty sure after the first wave, everyone's gonna be an ace, and we're gonna be Winchester, the whole air wing, and day two, the A team's gonna come out, right? So
yeah,
the other question is, against a near peer threat, man, like, is it even viable to have, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you each have a gazillion.
Well, not even near peer, dude. I mean, the Iranians, launch 500 drones.
Yeah.
And right behind them is their new Su-35s.
Yeah.
We're talking about Su-35s and, the stuff that they're looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, there was a reason we always talk about when we talk loyal wingmen, we're like, hey, it'd be cool to have them as a decoy to soak up missiles, because missiles and targeting and all that stuff, it's a distraction.
And it makes a difference, man. I mean, I mentioned it on the show before, I flew actual DCA against Iran. And my air-to-air loadout was a AIM-9 and a full belt and a gun, and I could, on the radar, I was painting the F4s, and the only thing going through my mind was, I know they have a Sparrow, and I'm gonna be shot down. I'm gonna be the first casualty of this war because all I have is this AIM-9 mic out here, right? So, it does matter. You might take off day two and you don't have any AMRAAM left, right? So I mean, at that point you're no longer, you're more like the last line of defense, right? Yeah. There's I mean, it always comes full circle, man, back to cost, dude, and like really what designs are best. Do you want every single airplane on the base or on the carrier to be the most expensive, advanced, crazy, shiny object? I mean, I don't know. It's the whole drone thing really adds.
Oh, dude, it's a layer, but
yeah,
any tech can be defeated, whether it's electronic warfare, cyber, space, because they have to navigate. Like there's a lot of stuff that I think that the non-bag wearing types can do that I think helps. And it's probably going to have to be widely proliferated. That's going to be the answer. It's not shooting AMRAAMs at them. It's doing other geeky stuff.
No. And the crazy thing, like those Strike Eagle Bubbas, man, they're like, we were able to defend for about an hour. Well, then that begs the different look. If, drones typically fly low altitude, low and slow. So for the Navy, maybe the right thing to do is to look at like the ships, like, okay, because I mean, obviously they can carry a lot more, right? They have the space, the room, the power for much more powerful electronic stuff. Because, dude, it kind of makes no sense. I mean, you launch your Strike Eagles or your F-35s or Hornets. They go out there, they shoot everything they have. They got to come all the way back to the ship. I mean, dude, the time,
Strike
right?
Eagles don't go to the ship.
Well, back to base, whatever. But, and then, if you don't have another section or division or four ships or whatever to relieve, right, then you got a hole in your coverage, right? So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how future tactics play out, especially with F-47 and FAXX on the horizon. Maybe 30 years from now we'll see.
I think it goes in the tech. There's a lot of counter UAS stuff that is they're killing the drone without killing the drone. It's not kinetic, it's electronic.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it never gets airborne.
or it gets airborne and it just crashes into the ground, harmlessly. Like, that's what you need to be looking at, is how do you crash it without actually shooting it?
Yeah, because it's expensive too.
Right. You want something reusable that just uses, your main generator to power it, not, whatever. So I'm sure there's going to be stuff.
Yeah.
Smart
But
people doing smart things.
But it's still a really cool.
Oh, they did awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool video, man, of the Strike Eagle doing some good work. I mean, like Mover said, my hat's off to him for not shooting somebody they shouldn't shoot, crashing into one another. I mean, at high stress. I mean,
yeah, no, great job.
Yeah.
Great job to the pilots and passengers of those aircraft.
I know, what he wanted to say, that the young guy, he's like, I wanted to give my passenger the opportunity to tell me not to shoot.
He got the best GoPro footage of filming the merge.
Yeah. Hey, dude, hit record. You're going to want to get this. Whoosh.
Dude, it's terrible. Send all hate mail to Gonky.
It's all right, dude.
Oh my God. Luna Snacks, where is she? Says Thomas. Dude, she has not made an appearance in a while.
She's learned.
Yeah.
She's learned to ignore her, right? I mean,
she's like,
she's an intelligent being.
She's like, you know what? I don't need him. Every other woman in my life. Bob says, favorite airport from a pilot's perspective, flying, landing, etc. Not a tiny one. Favorite airport from a pilot's perspective. New Iberia was always fun.
Yeah. Is that where we get the little Tabasco sauce?
Yeah, that's where they would always have the po' boys for us, and the seafood and all that stuff, the fried shrimp they would cook for us.
Yeah, that military flying, I gotta agree with you. That was probably, they did not care at what speed you came into their
No,
their
and
lane.
you broke over the tower too.
They loved it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
one of my last flights in the Hornet, man, I went there, and
did you?
And I remember I was by myself, and I remember literally the controller. I asked for the carrier brake, and he says, "Oh yeah, you're approved." And then like some other person checked in the tower, and literally tower goes, "Hey, you're gonna have to hold out there. We got a Hornet coming in. He's about to tear this pattern up." And I'm like, "Oh no!" I was
before VAS Aviation existed.
Yes, I'm like, yeah. If VAS gets a hold of this dude,
Yeah, this is back before.
yeah.
Everybody
So I was like, well,
listening.
I guess I'll speed up. But Bob and GA airplanes, man, I don't know the name of the field, but there was a really cool grass strip on the side of a hill in Ohio that I landed a Cessna 172 in. It's probably some farmer's field, I don't know, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Ben says, I joined late today because I was distracted reading a book about a UAP that crashed into the Gulf of America.
Okay.
Okay. Help a brother out, Gonky. God.
It's a good book, isn't it?
Yeah, if you read, you would know. Kentucky Man 30 says, thanks again for another awesome show.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
for watching. Thomas says, a nuclear-powered battleship for drone defense.
Maginot Singh?
Sure. Are there any area of effect air-to-air missiles that could probably take out drones effectively, or maybe EMP missiles?
I mean, any air-to-air missile should be able to take out a drone.
No, he's talking about like a shotgun pattern, like
Oh.
one missile to take out a whole bunch. I don't know of any that can do that.
I don't either.
I mean, maybe like a big one, you know, like an OSA-5 or something with a big old warhead.
Yeah. I don't know.
James says B1, B2, B21 with 100 AMRAM each and good data link. But the problem is where you get 100 AMRAMs.
Yeah.
You got to build them. You got
to
maintain them. Like it's not the truck, that's a valid point, by the way. That's a good point. It's it's like we're talking about Ukraine with the artillery, right? They're the shells that they were running out. They're trying to produce them. They can't produce enough to maintain.
That's because they're using them.
That's what I'm saying. So if we're using missiles, that's fine if it's one day a year.
Well, James, the other thing is we can't. So these weapons have a lifespan, right? So if we build 1 billion of them and then we don't go to war, I mean, it's a huge waste of taxpayer money, right? So they try to do this balance of, we'll have like a war supply, which I don't know what that number is, and then we'll have,
and we wouldn't tell you if we did.
Yeah, exactly. Because the missile shoots that Mover and I and any fighter pilot's done, we're shooting the old missiles, right? So they get close to expiring. It's like, well, time to shoot this one. Good training, and we get to use the missile for training. So to have just thousands and thousands of them sitting around, it's not gonna.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna fly, man. But it would be like we were saying, to have the ability to ramp up and crank them out as we need them. That that's a whole nother logistical problem.
Hatchet of Brobridge says, Doug, ask if they know Stuart who worked at Pelican Aviation, New Iberia. I mean, if you showed me his picture, I'd probably I'm terrible with names. So
yeah.
Speaking of which, Hatchet, I posted this on Twitter and my Facebook. He was the one with the GoFundMe for the canine that retired and then has cancer. So I'm hoping they're able. It raised a ton of money. Thank you to everybody that donated. I'm sure they could probably use some more donations, but that's very tragic. The dog gets retired and the agency's like, okay, see you later. And it's like, whoa. I mean, look at all the work. So we did a GoFundMe, or he did a GoFundMe to be able to keep the dog and do the surgery to save its life. Bob says, I meant commercial, kind of the opposite of DCA, LaGuardia, traffic, taxi, and all that stuff. If
I know
airliners, it's probably not a good place to be. Eglin.
Man, I like going into Rickenbacker in Ohio. Mainly it's because from Ohio. I know it sounds weird, but it's got especially when you take off from there too, there's a little hump in the runway, so it makes it kind of fun. But I like Rickenbacker for no real. I mean, dude, all airliner runways are. We go to a place in West Virginia that's kind of up on top of a mountain that's pretty too. But
if you're talking, I love my favorite approach is the I never can remember. It's like the Liberty visual in New York. So you go Statue of Liberty, you arc around the Hudson, you pass the World Trade Center, and you go all the way around the city and land in LaGuardia. The problem is you have to land at LaGuardia, so that part sucks. But the actual approach is just beautiful. I don't know. I mean, I saw this posted on Instagram one time, and it's like, yeah, my favorite is she was some influencer. She's like, yeah, my favorite is Atlanta because that means I'm home.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'll go with that. It's easier for me to tell you the places I hate more than the places I love.
It's not that we have places that we love. There's just places that we don't hate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like Midway.
I don't like O'Hare.
Yeah, never been to O'Hare, but I don't like Midway.
So he said, Mover understood the assignment. Also, sorry, Gonky, but Mover had the correct pronunciation for my name. Also, hello, Skid.
I give up. Sorry, man.
Thank you. John says, finished your book, Mover. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the sequel. I can't wait to write the sequel. Leave a review, though, by the way, if you like the book, so that other people know to buy it. James says, fair rebuttal, thanks. So better would be a B-1-2-21 with a bomb bay full of chaff. No, because it's not going to be like, where are your troops? And may I go there and count them? You're not going to be in a position that it matters. Chaff is a very localized.
Yeah.
Same word. Look at that.
Yeah.
Right there. All right.
See? Yes.
We finally are on the same page.
Finally.
All right. Another one for you.
All right. Hit it, Doug.
With respect to the U.S. Navy, the TF-50N is going to provide unparalleled capability, both in the tactical training arena as well as preparing the students for shipboard operations in their
Is this the go around? Yeah, they don't show the.
We're working hard to incorporate
They
live
clear it off.
virtual constructive training as well as augmented reality. This, coupled with our already impressive
Do you know this
mission
guy?
suite and future
I don't.
enhancement capability, we're going to be able to provide both air-to-air and air-to-surface scenarios to the training
Oh,
commands that have not been seen. In addition to the tactical capability, Lockheed Martin is leveraging our experience with safety capabilities by bringing auto ground collision avoidance system into the TF-50N. This is going to help.
Why isn't it
ensure
auto
that the
surface
student returns home safely after
collision avoidance?
With decades of proven performance and capability for future growth, the TF-50N is poised to train today's aviators for tomorrow's threats.
All right. So the TF-50 is one of the options for replace T-45C. So we talked about it. What was it last week? We were maybe about one of the requirements. Yeah. So we found. So one of the requirements that they have dropped is the future Navy jet trainer having to go all the way to touchdown, even at the field for field carrier landing practice. So now they're saying, listen, just fly the ball to in close. We'll wave you off and you'll be good. And of course, I went on a rant saying the last 10 seconds is usually where you make your money or not. And having talked to some my fellow aviators that are still in, it looks like
that you tried to bully. Are you fixed wing carrier?
It looks like Magic Carpet. So I didn't know this, but so like a 4.0 GPA is like, you're okay pass all the time at the boat, right? So which is a good landing grade. Every landing is graded.
Why hold on. Why is good okay? Why can't good be good and okay be a 3? If it's just okay.
I mean, okay, 3 wires.
What's better than okay? Because
Underline
something's okay. Huh?
Underline okay.
Why don't they just say good?
I don't know, Mover. Listen, man, I'm not an LSO. I kind of thought it was a popularity contest and they didn't let me in their club.
I don't like the Navy's language, but go on. Let's talk about Navy things.
So it's okay pass, fair pass, no grade. I got a lot of no grades, right?
How do you get a 4?
4.0 is okay. If you get like a string of okay passes, if all your passes are okay 3 wires, your GPA is 4.0. Just like in school, Mover.
Well, no, A is 4, B is 3. You only gave me 3 options.
The number, right? Anyways, we're going off on a tangent. The average nugget, and a nugget is somebody that's on their first ship tour, is like 3.7 to 3.9, which is crazy because those are good numbers for a season, for a seasoned manual ball flyer like myself. Not that I'm good, but I'm a manual ball flyer. Anyways, the technology that they're using now to bring airplanes aboard the ship is so good, and I guess if it doesn't work, it's synonymous like your wings just fell off. So it literally.
Are they getting extra points because they're single engine?
You mean the F-35s?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But how does this relate to the TF-50 and T-45 discussion? It is the training that they need to do to get students ready for 4th, 5th, and 6th gen fighters, like the T-45 can't hack it. They need that capability more than they need an airplane that can land on the ship, is the long and short of it, because I guess the magic carpet is just so good. It makes it, so easy an Air Force guy can do it, I guess. So, I don't know, Mover. What do you think, man? What do you think of the T-50?
Let's go back. Was that a advertisement, or is that what they've selected?
No, they haven't selected anything yet.
That was just an ad.
Lockheed's pitch. Yeah,
that was Lockheed's pitch.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So when I sent it to you and I said this thing's awesome, you're like, yeah, except you can't land on the carrier.
I sent it to you.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah, I sent that to you. So, because I am the one who does the Twitter and you don't, so there's no way you sent that to me.
That's right.
Because I remember I'm like, T-50N, what makes it the N? Because there's nothing on that thing that's Navy. It's just, anyway. It can't because of the gear, and so they had to do this and justify it however they wanted to, because they don't have a replacement that can land on the carrier, and they probably won't. So that's one aspect of this. You're right. The 5th gen requires a trainer that has the systems, and what's cool about the T-50 is that it's in the Lockheed. It's like iPhone to iPhone, the Apple to Mac. You're in that same ecosystem, because the T-50, it's from the KA-50 or the TA-50. It's a joint thing with the South Koreans. But the displays and everything are configurable to be very similar to the F-35. So these, students are going from T-6 Texan, the T-6B, presumably to this. They learn all the, what's this do, switchology, all that stuff. They go to the F-35. It's an easy transition. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem. If you tell me that, Fat Amy, the only way it can't land on the boat on its own is if a catastrophic failure happens, I believe that too, because, that's how flight control systems work. My question, though, is why even grade passes anymore? Like, at that point, what do you need a GPA for if the thing's going to, who are you grading?
Yeah, and that's kind of, a buddy of my, my squadron who he just retired. I was talking with him, and he's like, they did a study on the measure of like pilot inputs that's required to get the airplane on the carrier before and after Magic Carpet, and it's like it's like you said. He said it makes it so easy. It's like it doesn't. You put the thing on the thing and it just works, right? So if everybody's if the new guys that are supposed to be struggling are getting like really good GPAs, like you said, man, maybe it's a waste of time. I think it's becoming a lost art, which I'm actually okay with it because it was kind of a tough art to learn.
There's a lot of stuff we don't do anymore. Navs don't, I don't know. Do Navs still fly around with sextants? They don't map the stars. I guess they could. We'd have to ask Withy that. He'd probably know. That.
Well, dude, back in the day, they flew
a couple of days.
Like the, in the
fix to fix. Nobody does a fix to fix anymore.
Yeah.
Did you ever know how to do that?
Yeah. We had to in the T-37.
Did you really though, or did you just kind of guess?
I kind of guessed. Totally. And you know what? And it's like my IP, I'm like, he has no clue either, because he's like, yeah, I turned to the heading and you go, oh, yeah, that's good. It's like he's like, dude, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't know either. He's like, they're like, this is dumb.
Yeah. Technology, the world moves on, technology advances. You get to say you're the last carrier.
Well, what I'm really interested in is, so when the Navy gets the Stingray, right, the aerial refueling tanker, the unmanned tanker, I'm really curious what that's gonna show, right? So first it's gonna be a tanker, right? Is it MQ-25? You know what I'm talking about, right?
The UAV
tanker, right? It's already, they've already demonstrated it can launch and recover all by itself. So once they were like, wow, this, we've been using this thing for like 5 years and it hasn't had one issue. It's like, well, what if we put some Hellfires on it? What if we put a AMRAM on it, right? And then, quickly, maybe throw in sprinkle a little AI in there. Quickly, it's like, man, do you need naval aviators? I don't know. Right?
Wrong.
I mean, right?
We
The
always-
Stingray doesn't need to eat, sleep. It feels no pain and it will not stop, right? I mean,
yeah, dude, I don't. It's very tough.
yeah, dude, the future is exciting and scary at the same time. I don't know which way it's going to go. All I know is that the priority is replacing the T-45, just like in the Air Force. The priority is replacing the T-38. They need
T-50 is a cool jet, though.
100%. I love the T-50, man.
Cool jet.
I think it'd be rad if the Navy bought the T-50 and did kind of like the A4 thing, because it has a attack capability, right? It's a light attack aircraft.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's, and I know you can't deploy it on a ship, but we have expeditionary squadrons in the Navy. It's, low cost. I mean, I don't know. Something to be said about a lightweight, nimble, cheaper jet
called the F-16.
Yeah, but that's not, it's not a trainer, right? F-16 is
awesome.
It's
okay. All right. Yeah, we got it. We're good. Sorry. Apologize, Gonky. My apologies to you. I just saw the clock. I don't have Luna to tell me what time it is, so I'm just looking at the clock now.
Oh, wow.
Michael says XCX B777 captain, most fun airport to fly into is the old Kai Tak in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Fly at the checkerboard and hang it right? That was the
Kentucky man says, so easy. The Air Force can do it. Peak bully mode for Gonky. Gonky sure upped his bullying when Mover got engaged. And then she left me.
It's already over.
Or she's leaving me. It's pretty much over.
Is it annulment?
Yeah, it's an annulment. Steve likes rhinos says, I think grading passes cost so little that the byproduct of safety is worth it. One more LSO to write the pass on a whiteboard is cheap. But what for? Like, what is the...
So the whole point of the GPA and grading passes was, number one, to try to inspire you to be better. Number two, friendly competition among squadrons, because it's if your squadron is the best, right? That's nice to say. The LSO's job is actually just the safe recovery of airplanes, but that's the byproduct of it,
Okay. Safety first.
Yes.
Richard says, recently finished the Spectre series and bought Alex Shepard series and Project Virtus because I'm sure I'll like them. Thank you. Should I read Virtus last or does it matter? It does not, because they are completely different, separate. There's no crossover. That one, the Shepard and Spectre, yes, there's crossover, but Virtus, no crossover whatsoever. Sci-fi world, totally different world. Gulf of America exists in this one.
Perfect.
All right, Gonky. Since you're poopy pants, go.
Dude, that was a total joke. Life is hard and then you die and pay death taxes. That's not really going to be the mental health minute, is it?
All right. Good night, everybody.
Look at you, dude. Did you have something for real in mind?
No, I thought you had something about your health.
Yeah, you're out. Okay,
And
I do
all
actually have one.
Yeah, I thought you had something.
Yeah. So I floated this past mover a couple weeks ago. He thought it was dumb, but we'll go with it. So as a lot of you guys know that have been following the show, right? I've had this knee thing for a while, and I think it's worth saying, or worth touching on the topic of, I think an important part of your mental health is also your physical health, right? And mover, I think you can relate to it as well with the physical things that happened to you and how that affected you mentally, right? So for me, everybody's different, right? So, for me to be mentally sane, there's things that I enjoy doing in life, right? I love riding racing motorcycles and exercise and being outside. I'm very active, and I have not been able to be that. And I'm always I'm always like the strong guy, right? Like I'll go, if you need a large rock moved, I can do that. Don't ask me any kind of intellectual questions, because I am literally a rock. But friends are always I've had friends ask me, it's like, hey man, can you come over and help me? I'm building a shed. I'm like, I can't do my leg. And it's like, oh. And over the weeks, right, that this goes on, since you can't do the things you normally do, you can't be who you want to be. And it never dawned on me, I was definitely getting a little more poopy pants. But I was talking to my uncle, who's like 80, 82. And he still speaks like a sailor. He was a sailor back in Nam. But he had my uncle, Cork, he was in his late 60s. And I remember him benching almost 300 pounds. Because I used to spot him. He's very fit. My dad's the same way. But anyways, he had some health issues in his back, and it put him down for a while. And I remember him talking to me, this is just like a month ago. He's like, man, as long as you don't lose that motivation, don't lose that motivation. And I think that was his way of telling me, it's like, you can't, as soon as the physical stuff starts killing your drive, you got a real problem mentally. I kind of went down that road, then and it's insidious, right? Because it's a slow burn that just stays after you. And I find you find yourself going down these roads of I mentioned, that my doctor told me, you can't fix my knee. I'm like, well, then that means I can't be who I am. Well, who am I? I've kind of, you build your world around the things that you love. People and activities and whatnot. So I've had health issues as well, I guess, like childhood asthma and things like that. And these things, like I said, if there's something physical that's keeping you from doing the things that you want in life, it will affect you mentally. I won't. A couple years ago, we interviewed Wombat. He struggled with weight. I know a lot of people struggle with that. So it's very important to take care of yourself physically for your mental health. And that's getting enough sleep, a little bit of exercise, and then of course, diet. Here in the United States, diet is horrible. I've lived all over the world, and I would argue the rest of the world eats way better than we do as Americans. But that's really what I wanted to say is, the mind is important, but you got to take care of the body as well. Mover.
Good stuff, Gonky. I've lived this. You especially live it when your parents, the people closest to you, die unexpectedly. A lot of people I've talked about, my mom died 2 days after Christmas. She was 44. I was 12 years old. My dad died at 65 after his third back surgery, and he was trying to get a better quality of life for his retirement. And for me, that kind of came home when I was in 2015, so 32. I was flying BFM, back hurt, went to the flight surgeon, like, hey man, back's hurting a little bit, can we see what's going on? And that is how we discovered polycystic kidney disease. And what I would later learn is at stage 1, I had it my entire life. Like, it wasn't something that just popped up. It was just something that existed. But when I talked to the nephrologist for the first time, and she said, we're going to do this thing called an MRA. So what's that? She's like, well, we're going to put your head in this, like an MRI, but MRA, and we're going to scan you and take a look and see if there's any aneurysms. I was like, oh shit, that's how my mom died. And she's like, yeah, I said, well, can I fly again? And they're like, well, we're going to see if we need to do anything first. You may not, it may be too dangerous to ever fly again. And I remember the first time I ever had any level of anxiousness and anxiety was in that MRI, because laying there is when it hits you that your body has now betrayed you, right? You're up to this point, you've lived a healthy life. Yeah, people have passed away. It's been sad, but you've been healthy. And that's that first moment where you're like, holy crap, I might be in the exact same boat. I might be dying soon. I don't know. This might be when we discover it. I might be on dialysis soon, because that's the scariest thing in the world, right? I'd been in calls with suicidal patients at dialysis centers as a sheriff's deputy, and that scared the crap out of me. At the time, it didn't, but once you're in that tube going, what's the diagnosis going to be? 7 months later, I got my medical back, went flying, and then ended up having to leave the Navy Reserve because the Navy said you're non-deployable, even though that was nonsense. In that time, though, I think, like you talked about, Gonky, one of the things when you're focused on your health, you get into this like spiral of pity, right? You're like, my body's given up. I don't know if I can continue being the person that I was. And what I found was, as soon as I got my waiver to go back flying, as soon as everybody acknowledged that it was okay, I was okay again. All these external factors, I let the mental part affect me both negatively, in that I convinced myself that, this was the end. I'd never fly again. I'd never do anything again. And then turn around and, NAMI says, congratulations, here's your waiver. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to fly again. I'm going to fly a Hornet. But the lasting effects of that time, the girl I was dating dumped me. She was just too negative. Like I was in such a pity party. I could not be around anybody. And so when it happens later on, when something like that pops up again, because, I was just in the ER, right? And, you kind of forgot about it. You forget about all the stuff. And then the next thing you know, you're in the ER and they're like, well, we got to figure out what's wrong. And you're like, okay, well, guess what? I guess, that timer's run out again. But that good health that I had enjoyed for all this time, it's finally come home to roost. And you're right, Gonky, when stuff like that happens, it is very easy to get into a situation where, you're trying to explain it to people. And you're like, I'm so sorry, I've let you down. Because I let Bobby down because I didn't get to go do ARCA and go race in Talladega and all that stuff, because I'm still dealing with it. I'm going to be dealing with it for the next at least couple of weeks. It is tough to deal with because it limits you from all the fun stuff you wanted to do. And you get into a mindset of, well, who am I? What do I do? And you don't want to tell anybody because, that they will then judge you, and, they feel like you are a limiting factor. And, we type A, fighter pilot types and cops and whatever, we don't want to be a limitation on anybody. But then something happens that brings you back, something that gives you perspective. And whether that's a tragedy like we just had, I lost a buddy of mine, and I realized that my problems were stupid compared to a family that just lost a father. Or, seeing Luna and her effect on the community in the aftermath of that. Or, just daily life, having good friends like Gonky and Doug and, people in my life that are like, hey, dude, it's not the end of the world. You're going to get through this. The sooner you deal with it, the better off you're going to be. And we're going to move past it. That is the support system that you need. You need those people in your life that are going to tell you, hey, this is just it's a blip. Yeah, you didn't get to do the cool thing you thought you were going to do, but eventually you'll do cooler stuff. And when we keep looking forward, and you almost have to ignore it. You almost have to ignore that whatever's going on and go, I'm going to push through and make it, because there's no other choice. I don't have another option. If I give up and do this pity party and play woe is me, nothing ever gets done. Nothing gets better. But there's always an option. Military One Source, chaplain, director of psychological health if you're still in a squadron. 988 if you're starting to feel like it's something you want to make a permanent solution to a temporary problem, or 911. But Doug, what do you got, man?
We were talking on my stream today about how we do the show and how it's not very scripted at all. I think this was probably the best example of how well that can go. You guys came into this more or less cold, and what you said was really, really on target. I've gone through the same thing, Gonky. I can't tell you how much that resonated when you talked about not being that guy anymore. Because, you know, I've always been big and strong and smart and fast. And then at some point, I just wasn't as much as I used to be. And you have to figure out, just like Mover said, you have to figure out how to get through it. You know, I shake now. And I've always been proud of how good I am at shooting handguns. Well, you can't shoot handguns when you can't shake, and when you shake and you can't see the rear sight. But you got to learn to do it some other way, right? Lean against a post, shoot a long gun. It's troublesome when I'm doing fine motor tasks and, you know, building stuff. Put your elbows against something, right? I was looking the other day on Amazon. There's whole devices to make your hands more steady, and that might be part of my future. But if it is, that's just going to let me keep doing stuff. It's all about perspective, just like Mover said, right? My troubles are pretty small compared to some of the things that are happening. And as far as I can tell, there's solutions to them. So you just keep moving forward and doing the stuff you want to do. That was a really good mental health minute, gentlemen.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yep.
Yeah. And as always, John, with the excellent quote, it is exercise alone that supports the spirit and gives the mind and vigor. Cicero and Gonky Tyson. And I will say, too, that if you have healthy habits before and during, makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Right. The more in shape you are, if you have joint problems, you know, taking that weight off really helps with the joint issues, you know, eating healthy, like stuff Gonky said, you know, if you had a workout regimen or regime already, like all those healthy habits, when things get rough and it's never too late to start, that can help get you through it. Because, you know, at least for me with the kidney stuff, you know, I hope to keep it stage 1 forever. I don't have any control, but I have control over factors like keeping my blood pressure down. You know, when I go to the doctor, they're like, okay, you know, do you have this negative habit? No. If you have this one, no. Okay. Low sodium diet. You do all this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, you're the patient we want to see because you're doing the things. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm scared. I am scared shitless. I don't want to be hooked up to a dialysis machine.
Yep.
You know, so.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to emphasize that both of you guys do have going for you is the good habits you learn in the military. There's this downward spiral that's really easy to get into. And if you've already got good habits, sometimes just sticking with those habits is going to save you. And that's something that I think a lot of us, if we weren't trained that well, struggle with.
If anything, the military gave me worse habits.
Yeah, but
I was working out way before I went to the military, dude. If anything, it made it worse.
I can't count the number of times you said, hey, yeah, I can do that, but I got to go run first.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's
Doug,
dogs.
you're right, but I'd argue the military is a large factor for my knee right now.
All right, exactly.
They taught me the habits to deal with said knee issue, but
it looks good from the outside.
Ibuprofen and Motrin.
Yes,
I guess it just looks good from the outside.
No, you're right though. That
it's valid.
Yeah, yes. They do instill some discipline in you.
Allegedly,
yeah.
Andrew says, just watch the Matthew Broderick 1980s war game movie. We need humans involved. Yeah. Well, that's what I said. Especially the documentary Terminator.
Which one?
And the Matrix.
Yeah, it's like Terminator and the Matrix are combining.
Yeah.
There you go. Free book idea, Mover.
Corey says, great episode tonight. As usual, gents. Tomcats. Is that a helicopter? Or a fixed wing?
I don't know. It's a glass.
Kind of looks like he's wearing a helmet, is the reason I say that. Father Exo says, I joined late, so I probably missed it. What was the discussion about the 35 helmet? I'm a 35 guy, so I just wanted to know what the details are.
Oh, we didn't even make it to that one.
I would like to refer you back to that.
I've told Mover we're definitely the Seinfeld of aviation shows. The
Yeah,
show,
it's a show
about nothing. So it's like, yeah,
Maybe
dude,
next time, maybe never.
If you're an F-35 guy, we should next time we'll just play the
You
video.
tell
and
us.
you just comment. We'll just feed it to the perfect.
You almost got a sentence out there, Gonky. Keep trying. Eventually,
he knows what I'm saying.
It's good that you are so articulate on a talk show.
I try to be.
Richard says, just an idea wish. I would love to see a future Kruger series after he. Man.
Spoilers.
Come on, dude.
No need to buy the book now.
I believe that idea has been flown past you before.
I have a whole plan. I got to finish the sci-fi stuff. But don't spoil it for the people. I'm all right, which is a good username and avatar. My father passed away at 81 in February. Sorry for your loss. After a half-year battle with severe depression. History of it since his early 30s. 50 years of depression. It's awful. The mental health minutes have helped me gain perspective. Thanks. And I would just add in that scenario, you are not your father. So, whatever demons he dealt with, don't try to take those on, as best you can. Separate yourself. Remember the good stuff and the good memories, and know that, what he faced is not what you have to face. Because I've seen that before. My dad was like that. My dad, and to some degree, I've done it too. My dad's dad died when he was 50, right?
Wow.
Cancer. Like they went in for some other, this is back before I was born, right? 70s, maybe early 80s. Went in, said, oh, here's all this cancer, right? Because that's how they would discover cancer, was operating on something unrelated, and closed him back up, said, we can't do anything for you. He lived 6 months, he died, right? Smoker all his life, fought in the Battle of the Bulge. And my dad, from like the time he hit 50 on, was like, well, I live longer than my dad, Meanwhile, me as his kids, like, Dad, I want you to be around for a long time. But, when he get down on himself, and he was a drinker, so that was a part of it. But this, I bear the burden of my parents, and I've done it too, right? My mom lived to 44. I'm 42. I'm like, well, I got 2 more years left, but you can't like, we're born with an expiration date, but it's not necessarily the same as, it's not passed down from generation to generation. So I think it's tough. And I'm guilty of it, but we have to separate ourselves. Not saying you're doing that. I mean, that comment I probably took way farther than it was meant to be taken, but just a good point. And that is a show.
Sweet.
Unless you want to stick around for 45 more minutes and take all the other topics we missed today.
No, I always think, dude, we're not going to have enough topics.
Oh, dude.
And then
we have like a 2-show backlog right now.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm like, you're always like, hey, can we get somebody else on the show? I'm like, Gonky, we don't have time. We've got too much to cover.
You can tell when the thumbnail is made before the show and after the show. Because there's topics on there we didn't talk about is before the show.
I thought you quit doing that.
It depends, man. It depends.
So what's next week?
Casmo, right? Casmo's coming on.
He said he would. Are you going to be in a hotel?
Probably, yeah. I mean, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'll be doing hotel ops. And then Mover and Casmo will be carrying and Doug will be carrying the weight of the show. So
Doug with his internet that can see into the future.
I'm so happy.
Go follow Doug on his stream. Go donate to Hatchet's GoFundMe. Buy a book. Buy a children's book. What else?
Yeah.
Watch the show again next time.
Yeah. Next. Hey, I think we got another. Did we get another?
Oh, yeah. Manjot. It was Manjot, by the way. Mental health minutes are great. Keep advocating, guys. Hell yeah. Boris says, "Hey guys, how long was your longest flight in a fighter jet, and how do you prevent your body from stiffness of sitting too long in the cockpit?" 7.8 or something like that, and I was 25, so that's how.
Yeah, mine was a little over 8. I think 8.3, and I was also in my 20s. You can massage the legs though. You can push the inflate the G suit test, the test button on the G suit. So I used to massage my legs like that, man.
I used to stand up on the rotor pedals.
You can
So
do that too.
this,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just flex your back.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
there's no way around it. It gets, even in your 20s, it's like, man, this
it's
is
so funny, dude. The stuff that was like Hawaii to, I would have at that age, flying the jet was preferable. But at this age, I'm like, I'll ride on the tanker, dude.
Yeah.
I'll ride on the tanker.
I love it. I love it.
Shoe, there's Shoe. Shoe says, "I struggle with the same issue. I did all the right things, took care of my health, and still developed type 1 diabetes. It caused me to be medically released from the Canadian Forces."
Oh, wow.
But you got to write the next chapter.
Yeah, man, keep trying. Don't, just.
Yeah. But the military is, a lot of people, us included, as we've seen with the show, and I love me wall behind us. It's not over when you're done with the military. That's just one chapter.
Yeah.
What happens next is up to you, and whether you take advantage of your freedom or wallow in self-pity, right? I mean, it's all about perspective.
Oh, hey, Mover and I will wallow in some self-pity about once a day.
Oh, yeah.
and then we snap out of it.
I haven't snapped out. It's like just give me a win, dude. Just one little win, just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for showing up tonight.
See you next week.
We'll see you guys.
Good night.